Hey guys, Coach Ben here, and you are listening to Benchas. We got a great episode for you today. I'm really pumped about this one. We're talking about sources of knowledge for a lifter, places you can reach out to, experiences you can have that will, further you along in your knowledge base, help you learn quicker, help you learn more, just be a more effective lifter. It's something I'm really amped about. I got a lot of good stuff I want to touch on with you today, things you may not have thought about as sources of knowledge and ways to get better. But first off, that was a little bit of recent news. You see what happened to Pioneer Fitness?
Oh, yeah, I heard he lost his Instagram name.
Yeah, some guy in Turkey
Had to make a new one.
hacked it. I don't know how that happens.
I got nothing.
How do you let someone hack your account?
He was supposed to get verified by Instagram, but in the process, apparently, he just probably gave away his info.
That stuff freaks me out. I'm always, because they got up to like 80,000 followers.
Yep.
That stuff always freaks me out because you don't know when the hell you're going to lose your account. Things like getting flagged.
And
I never happened, but if someone flagged you.
Apparently, Instagram customer support's terrible.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like an email response. Can't even call anybody.
It's not the first time I've seen someone lose their Instagram like that.
You know he got it back, though.
Yeah, and
Gotta
they made a
restored.
separate account, so it all ended up working out. But
Yep.
that stuff really freaks me out.
Yeah,
'Cause I
that's-
can just imagine you have 100,000 followers and you just get hacked or something dumb.
Yeah, that's a week of struggle.
That's a lot of people missing, but they gained it back pretty quick. I know that's definitely a company. I saw them. I remember a few years back they made a custom belt for Kevin Oak, and I think he was sponsored by them for a little bit of time. They actually had knee wraps and stuff out, and I don't know. What's the Lily Bridge ones now? That's Pioneers, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it is. I know Larry's is Pioneer.
So they make the wraps.
Oh, the wraps. I actually don't know about that.
Because the
Oh,
new
they just
Lily
have the
Bridge
belt.
ones, I think, with the U.S. flag, that's all Pioneer. But I remember they gave a custom belt, Kevin Oak. I think he was sponsored by them. That was before anyone knew about Larry. And I thought that was a pretty badass belt. It was all customized. Never seen anything like that. And I remember looking them up, and they really took off since then. It was like 2-3 years ago now. But the stuff they make is really awesome. So definitely check them out. And I think the price is definitely fair for what you're getting.
It's
You
definitely fair. It's,
all kinds
yeah.
of customization involved. You can make some really cool stuff. And I'm still trying to get my hands on a bench belt with the Big Benchas logo. I think that would be badass. And I don't know about you. I'm not a single prong guy. I'm a double prong guy. I'm old school as it gets.
My next one, I just want to go lever.
See, the thing with the lever is now I feel like you're squatting an extra 2 pounds because the freaking lever itself weighs 2 pounds. And the one thing I hate about lever belts, because I had one, is you move over the lever. First off, just the adjustment alone sucks because you got to constantly adjust if you're fat, not fat. But then when you put that lever in, it moves the belt, and that shit just pinches your fat hard. Because it's, for some reason, like the part that's moving is like underneath. So you got that top moving layer, the underneath layer, and if you got fat there, it's just
It's got a
right
pinch
there,
right down.
huge pinch of fat, and it hurts every single time. And especially if someone does the lever for you, you just major fat pinch.
Man, I got to tell you, though, I went double prong for my last belt. I'll never do that again.
What did you not like about the double prong?
The fact that there's two of them. The fact that I have to...
It's super easy. You just move it up and move it down, and it pops right out on you.
Or you can just get a single prong and just be fine.
I feel like either one's gonna lock in.
Yeah, either way's fine. Either way's good, but just...
I guess
like,
ease of use.
Ease of use, single prong, just...
I'm old school.
Sometimes you crank that double prong tight and you get one out and then you're just like stuck trying to like wiggle it out.
On that last one.
Yeah.
So you give me a lat pull down bar, an easy curl bar, I'm good. I'm
First
old
world
school.
problems. It is
I'm
what it
old
is.
school. All right, so we're talking, knowledge sources for a lifter today, and what was that?
Something broke.
We were here banging. We had a major raccoon in the backyard not too long ago. We were out here, we were training, and we were chilling out by the fire at night. Usually our typical routine, we train at the HQ. We're out there hanging out. And just this big-ass raccoon pops out of the bushes, and somehow, I don't know how the hell it did this, but it got under the fence. I don't know nothing about raccoons. I just know they keep getting into my trash cans. But That was a big mother effer, and he was out there. He's giving us a stare down. We saw him in the corner of the yard. Guys just staring at us. I thought we were gonna have a showdown for a second, but luckily it scurried off before I got involved. But they didn't want none of me. So first thing I want to touch on, probably the biggest way that I've learned as a lifter and grown as a lifter, is by doing shit. All right, and what I mean by doing shit is having experiences such as internships, training with other groups of people, attending clinics, those types of things, getting out and just doing stuff and learning from other people. Probably the biggest way that I've learned. I don't know, you might have been in school when they did that whole learning styles thing. You ever go through that? Where you're like auditory or whatever?
Oh, yeah. Visual, auditory, like technical.
Yeah, I'm always a learn by doing dude. I learned that early. I have to do stuff because I'm not very smart in terms of reading and applying. I'd have to read a book like 5 times before I actually understand what I actually read. Or remember it because my memory's horrible, you know that. So I have to do stuff because then I actually remember what the hell happened. So anytime I've learned anything good, and especially I remember interning at the gym, just all those intern experiences I had, I'd always take away something because I was doing stuff. In terms of coaching, I'd learn. In terms of lifting, I learned a lot. And that's really how I got introduced to powerlifting, intern at the powerlifting gym. And learning from all those guys. That was a really big experience for me. So that's probably the biggest thing for me is those types of experiences, internships, traveling, like I said, to train. Just went down, we did the podcast with Rich Putnam, and that was a great learning experience for me. I tried on a bunch of different shirts, and who else would have all that equipment that I could go and try? I had to go out there and get it. I can't go and buy every piece of equipment. Kind of like we got a guy that comes here and trains, and he didn't know what shirt he wanted, so he literally bought like 5 or 6 shirts. And I don't have that luxury just going out and buying a bunch of shirts, nor do I want to, because now I have to deal with getting rid of them after. But getting out there training, trying a bunch of shirts was really, really big. So I encourage everyone, if you haven't, just seek out those opportunities. Usually, I tell everyone too, if you're aspiring to be a strength coach and whatnot, just do everything you can. I first interned at Gaglione Strength Powerlifting Gym throughout a summer. That was one of my first internships. And then from there, I just kept reaching out. And even if it's not quote-unquote internship, most coaches are going to let you hang out there and just kind of see what they're doing. No cost to you. You're just showing up. I've had experiences where I do very little. I do literally nothing but watch. Springfield College, I just watched the football team. I just went for that one specific practice time or that lifting time, and I would just watch. And most coaches are real open to that. You just don't get in the way or interfere in any way. You're just helping out. Don't be afraid to shoot someone an email. That's simple as that. I don't know how'd you come across, because you interned as well.
I just shot him an email.
Would you Google and just found some
stuff?
stuff?
Had a free semester. Figured why not.
Yeah, so I mean that starts with a Google search, guys, and it depends what you want to do. If you want to be a really good lifter, seek out opportunities at powerlifting gyms. Even if there isn't an internship opportunity, it doesn't hurt to email them and just be like, hey, can I just see what's going on, observe lifting times or whatever, and you gain a lot out of that.
Then most people are a lot more friendly. They're a lot more open than you'd think they would be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know if I had, a facility and someone wanted to come in and watch, I'd be like, hell yeah, maybe you can mop the floor or something.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
What can I have them do, for that time? But even if I didn't have a quote unquote internship opportunity that actually offers like college credits or anything, hell yeah, I'd be more than open to having someone come in and just help out and watch. So you don't have to be scared about, if they turn you down, what the hell?
Yeah, you weren't going to go there anyway.
So if you get turned down, what the hell? I remember one specific interview I had. It was a phone interview. Freaking hate phone interviews.
They're pretty
They're the
bad.
worst. It's like I hate phones in general. I rarely pick up the phone. So if any of you guys are trying to get a hold of me, usually phone is not a good way to go. I'd rather just meet you in person. Really, honestly, I hate phone interviews. I'd rather just go there. I don't care how long I had to drive. But I had this phone interview with this guy, and I was nervous as hell. I was just kind of getting into the coaching realm, and this opportunity was out in Rhode Island, and I just remember that phone interview did not go well at all. He was asking me all these. He was really good with his questions. You see, he's really trying to narrow down the field, and I thought I had some good responses. I don't think he was really into it. But then at the end, he brought something up, kind of like, what we're talking about right now, where what's your resources, what do you learn from, or something along those lines. And I brought up how I attended the, now we're speaking about, attending clinics and stuff, how I attended the Perform Better seminar out in Boston. He was actually there. I don't know how many people were there that day, but a good amount, and he was actually in attendance. I didn't know who he was at the time. We ended up on this phone interview after, but he was really amped about that because just knowing that I was someone that went out to those types of events, I think kind of like raised me above. And then he was like sold after that. We had a great conversation, but that's all it took. But
For a lot of people, like, their learning ends when their schooling ends. So I feel like if you go, take the extra step, go to seminars, put yourself out there, that just reflects so much better on you.
yeah, a lot of people don't. And he would ask me about books too. We'll get to that, but like, what kind of books am I reading? What kind of people am I following? All really important stuff, especially in the coaching realm. But even think of that along the lines of, if you want to be a great lifter, who are you following that is great lifters? Reaching out to them. That brings up another topic I wanted to get into. Is just in social media, we have so much access to lifters in general. You could just easily send someone a personal message or whatever, or DM them in the Instagrams.
Slide into them.
Yeah, and you reach out to all these guys, which I've done numerous times, and kind of make those connections, and you learn a lot just from messaging some people back and forth. So that's another great one, especially with the opportunities we have nowadays. With the Snap Face too, I guess. I don't use Snap Face, but Facebook, Instagram. You can email someone. There's plenty of ways to get a hold of people. And
Everyone's
follow.
accessible now.
Yeah, everyone's accessible. Very easy to just shoot them a message, and if they don't respond, they don't respond. But if you can learn just one thing, one takeaway, even if you're just watching them for the most part, great opportunity to learn. So definitely reach out through social media channels. So like, if I wanted to follow a well-known coach, Martin Rooney, someone I follow, he amps you up. That guy is great at just amping up a crowd. Probably the biggest or best, definitely the best presentation that I've seen when I went to the Perform Better seminar. Just how amped up I was afterwards. Great presentation. He's just a guy I like to follow because I just get amped up about what I'm doing after listening to him. So following a guy like that, or if you're into a lifter like Larry, don't be afraid to reach out. I remember Vinny DiZenzo came down for a seminar, and I think someone brought up a comment. He said how he's like nervous to message some of those guys. He's like, don't be nervous. Everyone's very accessible, and we look forward to hearing from you. So why not just send your message in?
It's like back in the old days when you want to talk to that big guy at the gym because he knows better than you.
Yeah, but you're like nervous as shit.
Yeah, because you're a tiny guy first day in the gym.
Yeah. Yeah, I love anytime someone messages me. I encourage you all, reach out and message me. I love hearing from everyone. And, some people think because they're just benching 135 that they don't want to, like, talk to me or something. Like, some guy just posted how everyone always brings this up. Can I rock a Big Benchas shirt? I'm only benching like 95 pounds. It doesn't matter how much you bench. I mean, we all started somewhere. I started with an empty bar. Had to work my way through that. You can always rock the shirt, guys.
I would even argue that just in the beginning to learn like everything, it just saves you so much time later down the road. Like
Yeah.
you don't have like a bad pattern to like unlearn and have to relearn a good pattern.
Yeah, especially when you're starting out. That's the time to reach out because you haven't developed a bunch of shit yet.
Yeah.
You know, I've had some people that wanted to wait till, like, quote unquote, get a little stronger to contact me or work with me or whatever. And I'm like, right now is prime time. You got to jump on it now because you're only going to get shitty. So if you're not getting, I'm not saying he was shitty, but, likelihood if you're not receiving any coaching, you're probably letting some bad habits creep in. And the earlier you can get on it, guys, I don't care if you're benching 10 pounds or 150 pounds or 450 pounds.
Or the broomstick in your corner,
Yeah, it's always a good time to reach out and get some help, especially early because now you're not getting a bunch of bad habits which creep in. And I tell you, pain in the ass to, and it sucks having to tell someone they got to take a huge step back. But sometimes that's how it is. I'm working with some people right now. I know they're going to have to easily take like 30 pounds off what they're lifting in a regular session because either they're doing touch and go stuff or whatever the case may be. They have a lot to work on, and they're going to have to drop weight to work on it. And no one wants to hear that. No one wants to really go through that. But that's just how it is. It's going to benefit you in the end. But it's good that you're on the right track now, receiving coaching. We have a 3-week opportunity out right now. We're offering free coaching for 3 weeks. Encourage everyone, don't care what you're lifting, jump on it. I don't care if you're 3 weeks out from a meet. We can work around that having to pass, but you got to get on the opportunity now. Don't wait, all right? Don't wait on things. Have you attended any clinics in the past? You ever been to Perform Better or nothing like that?
Yeah, I've been Perform Better.
Those are great.
Really the ones that gagged. You have to see
Yeah, a lot of
the
great
back
lifters
half
came
of
down there.
Ray come down. That was real good.
Yeah, Ray. Meeting great lifters like that. Real humbling experience. They're all really cool. I've never met anyone that was just a total dick yet. I'm sure there's a few out there, but Ray was awesome. And, the funny thing about Ray, I showed him, and that was a huge thing with those Godzilla bands they made for him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all the tractioning he does with the hips hanging upside down. I showed him that. I showed him. He didn't know. He was trying to squat like the world record that he set that day. And he was out in Pennsylvania, getting driven around by the beard maestros and whatnot.
Yeah, getting fresh cut.
So I can only imagine how tired and tight he must have been, or whatever the case may be from driving all that time. And he wanted to learn some things for the warm-up because I stretched him when he came in on that Friday, FST stuff. And so he was asking me about what he could do for the warm-up. And, I suggested just hanging off the bands. He had some low back stuff going on. That usually feels really good. And I tell you, that was a struggle just trying to get him on the bands because we needed at least 3 Onyx black bands. And you know how thick those things are. We needed 3 of those suckers to even kind of hold him up a little bit because he's like 400 pounds. And so we did 3 bands. I think he put it on social media, whatever. He started doing it regularly because he loved it so much. And then, lo and behold, now they make a Godzilla band to fit a dude like Ray. So now we got Godzilla bands out. It's like a whole big thing. But I showed him how to do the bands, the traction. Ray was fun. Stan Efferton came down. He was great to learn from. He's very motivational. He's just one of those guys. He could tell you, the world's flat, and you just kind of believe him.
So convincing.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's just got that way about him. If he wanted, he could just take over the world. Was what the hell he says. He sounds educated. So I'm in.
It's honestly the pacing of how he talks.
Yeah,
Everything's
gotta be
equally
to
spaced apart. It's all very delivered with confidence.
Got to be something to it. Yeah, that's true. Everything he says with a lot of conviction behind him. So you just believe whatever the hell he says, But I'm sure, his whole thing with the vertical diet right now is, working for a lot of people. But he's just a great salesman. He's got the certifications for that now. A little crazy. It's a little crazy all the stuff he's got going on, but he's just good. He's just good. He was great. I learned a lot from him. Vinny DiZenzo, of course, being a bencher, learned a lot from him as well. And it's just reassuring, like, things that I was doing well. That's the thing, too. I know a lot of people don't want to attend clinics because they're almost afraid that they're going to be told they're wrong or they're doing something wrong. And, you know, a lot of times it's just good for reassurance that you're doing something right. Like, if you got 3 people now backing the types of stuff you're doing, you know, that gives you a lot of confidence in what you're doing. And then you can display that on other people. You got all these strong lifters backing what you're doing. You know what I mean? You know, I know if I ever came out with something crazy and I didn't have anything behind it, you know, reasons behind it, and you can't really touch on the subject confidently. But when, you know, you've been to all these seminars and people say you're doing stuff great, you know, that's when, you know, you start speaking with confidence on the subject matter. And, you know, it's been, especially people always asking me where I got all my knowledge from on the bench press. It's all people like that and just constant reassurance over the years that this is all like the best lifters are doing. I encourage everyone, check out the article I did. I actually hit #1 on Elite FTS. It was my first #1 article. I mean, last summer, it was a June article, and I went out and I interviewed and messaged all, like, some real top lifters on tips for the bench press. And that was a great article. They all had a lot of good feedback and input that you can apply right away. Guys like Blaine Sumner, Jen Thompson, Greg Panora. You know, I reached out to a bunch of guys. Jeremy Hornshaw is the world record holder. They all had great stuff that included in the article. So definitely something to check out. If you go to bigbenchas.com, on that banner, head banner, you'll see right on the homepage, Elite FTS featured in. You click on that, it brings up all the articles. I think it was Bench Pressing Secrets of the Pros. Podcasts, another amazing opportunity to learn. You were just talking about how you love long podcasts.
I love long podcasts. The longer the better, because I just have blocks of time where I need to fill with something.
Podcasts are, I mean, you guys are listening to a podcast right now, and hopefully you're learning something. You know, we're not
hopefully
doing
get some
our
takeaways.
What's some of your favorite? I'm bringing up my Podcast Addict right now.
I'm opening it up right now. I will just...
Podcast Addict's my go-to. Do you have an app thing?
No, on the iPhone it's just podcast.
Oh,
It's nice and easy.
I see. I don't have that.
I'm going to keep it to lifting-related podcasts because I listen to a whole lot of things. Got some history stuff, got some politics, got some...
Yeah, a wide range of subjects.
Just a wide range, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's
I'm
see.
looking at mine, too.
We got the Jug Life. It's a real good one.
Okay, I got that. That's a great one. A lot of good content.
I
learned about beer on there. Anything with beer, if you add beer to your podcast, I'm in.
I have the Joe Rogan Experience.
I got that.
It's a good mix of, like, entertainment, education. You know.
And you said they just got on Diamond Dallas page.
DDP, yeah.
And, you know, if you guys know anything about me, I'm big on the DDP yoga. I got to get back on that regularly.
I got Mark Bell's Power Project.
Yep, I got that. That changed over.
Yep.
I think earlier this year or before that. What was it before?
It was the
Powercast.
Powercast, yep.
Yeah, and he switched over. But he's got great interviews here. I was listening to the Stone Cold one, I gotta say, and the Half Door Bornstein. That was great.
I don't know if you remember Iron Radio from way back when.
Iron Radio, yeah, that's one I don't have right now.
I don't have it anymore either. But
I listened to that regularly. That was great.
It was a bodybuilder / nutritionist, double dietitian. It was a feel like a strongman and then a powerlifter. They were all together. You know, got training insight. They were all coaches. That was huge. That was
and it was a shorter podcast.
Yep.
And it was all super applicable stuff.
They were like at most an hour long, just stuff you could take into your training right away.
Yeah, it was all applicable stuff that you could use right away, which made it great because there's no better podcast for just use. You know what I'm saying? Just information you can start using now. I
have Move You Unfiltered.
What's that?
That's a good one. It's injury prevention, just movement and everything. They're real good. One's a chiropractor, the one's I think a PT.
Okay.
Could be wrong, but you know. Squat University, physical therapist, Dr. Aaron Horschik.
Okay.
Real good. Have Gags podcast because you know it's always around there.
You always work on that too.
Yep.
He's got some good stuff in there.
He's got some real good interviews on there. And then I have Mind Pump. It's
what
raw fitness truth. There are 3 personal trainers out of California.
I feel like having a good kind of PT podcast too, like that you mentioned, is always something good because that's a lot of things, and that's out of my scope. So usually because I see it all the time, I have lifters who have some real funky shit going on sometimes. And,
yeah, it's just,
like the bar's coming down at weird angles and everything's offset weird.
Or even someone's like walking up to the squat rack weird, like get one leg like toed out, like
they're
ducked
shifting
in.
all the way to one leg or something crazy. Yeah. And, while I can offer some feedback, I think a lot of it is just unique body tightness. I know, especially, got something in my throat here. Especially, like my setup on the bench, you see my left foot always comes way back further than my right. But I can tell how offset I am, versus tightness on my left side. And I'm always leaning to my left. There's just things we go throughout the day that put us kind of offset on each side. And, the older you are, too, you've been through a lot. And,
you're cementing in the tightness.
Yeah, you're just developing it if you're not working on it. So, that's a little out of my realm. So I just offer what I can. And then I say you really got to see, you should see your PT about, some things that you could do to make a solution for this. Because I'm not really the one to offer that solution. And I can offer some feedback, but that's their job. That's right up their alley. So that's something. You got to have a team of people behind you as a lifter. Your coach is one thing, your lifting coach, but then having someone that's going to work with mobility with you, make sure you're moving right, you're not dysfunctional. That's very important. Nutritionists would be great too. That's a little out of my realm too. I can offer some feedback, but actually getting help with a nutritionist is prime. Someone that just does that, just deals in that. More specific you can get with your help, the better, because they specialize in it.
Getting to listen to specialists in their field, just helps you broaden your own mind, just learn
everyone's
more.
Got that little niche. Yep. Mine happens to be bench pressing. That's, I'm going to freaking dominate you on the bench press. You know what I mean? I'm going to make sure you're looking good. So
on
that's,
the bench.
Yeah, every got their little niches. You need a team. Guys. Some of the things I get, Joe DeFranco's.
Oh, how did I forget Joe DeFranco?
I don't know how you forgot him.
Oh, man.
I love that. Kabuki Strength is a good one. Actually got to follow Kyle Hunt. I don't know, how well known he is now in powerlifting circles or whatnot. People listen to this. But I followed him from a very early age, very early on. He was actually, if you ever seen Nick Wright Bodybuilding on YouTube, one of the first YouTubers. Kyle Hunt was working with him and getting him ready for the shows.
Oh, shit. You know what I just realized?
What?
I have a Nick Wright Bodybuilding sweatshirt. That used to be my PR
from
sweater.
Back in the day, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the first YouTubers out there.
Maybe that's why I haven't hit a squat PR in 2 years.
I remember I got pumped up, started the channel after that.
Shit.
But Absolute Strength Podcast, he has some really good stuff. Look right here, his last one, USAPL coaching chairman Matt Gary. So he's got some really good stuff on here.
There's some girl out there that stole my hoodie right now.
Yeah,
bringing back some memories. Someone
you
stole my
need to get
hoodie.
that back.
Shit.
So check that one out. Got the Benchcast, of course. Rarely listen to that though, because I'm doing it. And a lot of so I have a Steve Austin show. Everyone needs a Steve Austin show, because he's the frickin' man. I mean, there's no one better. He is the all-time GOAT, Steve Austin. So you got to get that one.
I got to throw in the Jocko podcast before I forget. That's a real good one.
Yeah. Tim Ferriss.
Of course.
Yeah, we're getting a little out of the strength one for some of these. I got a lot of business too. Business ones are great. Like the Online Fitness Business Podcast was something Jordan Syatt, Pat Fillon started. Strength Coach Podcast with Mike Boyle. That's a good one, guys. Especially if you're in into strength conditioning and just working with athletes in general. That's a good one. So definitely check that out. But podcasts, great way to expand your knowledge base, because what the hell are you doing when you're driving? You're listening to music,
just jam it out, but
it could be an opportunity to learn. I like playing music for certain times. Sometimes I just want to listen to some jams and just tune my mind out. But majority of the time, if I'm traveling somewhere specific, I want to try to further myself, especially as a lifter, as a coach, as a business person. I want to make sure that I'm constantly progressing. Podcasts are a great way to do it passively. It doesn't require too much. You don't have to
watch anything.
Yeah, you just listen. It's like an audiobook. You don't gotta sit there with a book. You can listen whatever you're doing.
You can do it when you're getting like house shit done too. You know, you gotta clean the gutters, you gotta mow the lawn, throw a podcast.
Yeah, so that's your challenge this week, guys. Find the opportunity. You can sit down and get some podcasts
to listen more of the Benchcast.
Yeah, listen to the Benchcast. So you can. I'm sure you can find times when it's just dead time. You're trying to clean or something, and you can throw on a podcast and just do so, and then challenge yourself to add a little bit each week. And there you go. You're learning as you go throughout your day. So that's an amazing opportunity there. Books. We were talking about books. Something that...
Before you go into books you use now, what was the first book into your whole fitness career?
Probably what got me into lifting was Arnie's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding.
Because I was going to say that was my first book, Arnold's Encyclopedia. I feel like it's everybody's.
It's everybody's.
Everybody's.
I mean, that doesn't change. I think that book's done more for getting people into lifting than anything. I mean, that's the book you start with because it's Arnie.
That's a book that got me to like 100 pull-ups in a workout. That was just
I worked at Barnes & Noble at the time. I got that book. I know my dad had it, the first one, the original. And so I got the new one. It was like a revised edition.
Yeah, the revision. Yep.
The silver one. And that book, I read through it while I was at break at work, and that just pumped me up. I prepped all my meals, started getting into lifting big time, and that's kind of where I started with that. Got into the lifting, started getting into the coaching, the natural progression there. But yeah, I think that's everyone's. Got to read that, guys. You don't have that's just one of those books like you're not a lifter or anything if you don't have it.
Yeah.
Everyone has that book, and if you don't, you are missing out. I mean, there's something in it that for everyone. I remember the original book had some really crazy shit in it.
It did.
Like it had shit about cocaine for pre-workout, and just like those guys were freaking nuts. They're just getting it done.
It's absolutely wild.
Yeah, that's back in the day for you. Everyone now is soft, but. Tell you, Brian Thompson, he was the strength conditioning coach. Well, he is still strength conditioning coach at Springfield College. And I remember I think it was a Perform Better seminar. Forget, it might have been a Hammer Strength clinic. Those are great too, guys. Go online, go to Hammer Strength. Like who manufactures those machines there that we all love. They have some great clinics, too, with some really good strength coaches. I remember, like, the head strength coach of the Buffalo Bills was presenting at one time. And it's just really cool info to see what they do, and those are really fun to get to. That was a good one. But Brian Thompson presented at one, and then I spent some time, too, with the team, like I said, at the football team. And he said at his seminar there how continued education is always so important, and we all know you kind of die inside when you stop learning and progressing forward, getting stagnant. We don't want that. But he would read 50 books a year. Now that is a bitch. That is not the easiest thing to do if you're not accustomed to reading. You might want to start with a smaller goal.
Got to write that in my challenge folder right now.
I was like, because the way he explained it, he was just amped about it, so I was like all in. And I read 30 books. I got to like 30 books. I was really booking it. I spent more money on books that first part of the year than I have ever spent. But I learned a good amount. I never did so much reading. That forced me to start reading because that pace puts you at about a book a week.
Right about.
And some are bigger than others, so you get some done earlier. Some take longer.
Some are more entertaining, so you just breeze right through.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you got a long book, that forced you to read because you were like, shit, I got like a week with this book. It was a good challenge. I really liked that one. I think it would be optimal to start with something a little less. I'd probably do like a 30 in a year type deal. But that got me reading a lot. That's where all my books come from now. From that challenge. I bought so many books from that.
I mean, if you're not even into reading now, just keep reading 12 a year. That's one a month, you know.
And what's that? There's a app or something that has audiobooks or something like that?
Yeah. So there's, obviously everybody knows about Audible.
I don't know about Audible.
Oh, Audible's, I wish I was sponsored. I'll give you the whole spiel.
Is it just audiobooks or something?
It's an audiobook service, yeah. You get one a month, and you get to swap them out. It's real good. They have a huge library.
Yeah.
But if you're in the United States, you have access to a public library. You could check because a lot of them have online audiobook sources or even just online ebook sources. So
Yeah,
that's really good.
something that's like podcast for books.
Yeah, and
So who's reading
library.
those things? It's not the author, right?
Sometimes it is the author. I know the Jordan Peterson books. It's Jordan Peterson actually reading.
But majority of times, it's just kind of like some guy they have.
It depends, honestly.
Are they good though? Or are they boring? Does the guy read it good?
It's all individual, you know. It's like some authors are like, oh man, I'm so engaged.
I got you.
They even have a thing where if you listen to it and you read it, it syncs up to your Kindle, and so like wherever you finish listening to it, it's like there on the page.
That's the thing with a book is, if you're just reading a book for fun, it's like you can in your mind create the story, the everyone's faces. You could create everything in your mind. So it works that creative side of you. Like Harry Potter, like I had a whole different vision for Harry Potter before I saw the people, and then after I saw the movie, I just started visualizing like Big Hagrid, how he was in the movie. You get that picture put in your brain. But
I had so many mispronunciations from that book.
Harry Potter?
Yeah. I got none of the names right.
Well, is you right or are they right?
I mean, they're probably right, but
you might be right.
I might
Who
be
knows?
right.
Who's to tell you? But that's also the thing too with books is you read it in the voice you want to read it too, and then when you're listening to it, you get stuck with a dude.
Yeah, you get stuck with that voice.
And how you present is really important, or else it's kind of boring. You know what I mean? You gotta have some passion behind it. Magazines, always great. There was some powerlifting realm. Power Magazine, I think, is the only one now.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else.
I know back in the day it used to be Powerlifting USA. I actually bought back copies of that. That was a badass magazine. It tells you your rankings. That was your rankings back in the day. Everyone was trying to be on Powerlifting USA. I wish they had something like that. That's awesome. That was really awesome. I read some back issues. There was some good content. This guy came out with one that did not last long. It was actually in Barnes & Noble for a while. I was really amped about it. But,
remember what it was called?
I can't remember.
I feel like magazines got replaced by like blogs now.
Yeah.
I feel like now it's just like you go to blogs, kind of like read through them.
Yeah, working at Barnes & Noble for the while I did, I just kind of had an appreciation for like the hard copy stuff because I was around them all day. But yeah, everything's online now, and I guess that kind of brings up what I wanted to bring up is in blogs, articles, all that. Like Elite FTS, I write for. They share a lot of great stuff, and it's like on the daily. You go on there, go to their articles, new articles. Really great stuff from a lot of good perspectives, and that kind of, like you said, replaces magazines. That's daily reading content. I mean, you can start your day with an article.
Yep.
So, and that's just one website. You could find a lot of different websites, a lot of good blogs. We have a blog on ours, bigbenchas.com, the Bench blog, and it's just kind of a little recap of some of the videos we post out. So it's mostly like watching content, but definitely sometimes post some articles just for that. You can really find blogs anywhere online. There's a lot of good little websites if you just do some searching that you can get to pop up, and content's everywhere. Yep. Everything's online, so that's really the place to search. If you have a question, Google it. You're gonna get a lot of different stuff that pops up. Tough thing with that is there is so much content. It's like, who do you listen to?
Yeah, you got to know like where to look, and that's part of the problem,
Yeah, there's some people out there that are just kind of nutty.
Listen, there are some people out there who just you just look at their trainings like how do you live? Like,
yeah.
How do you?
But I mean, you don't know what you're getting into with that too. So that's what's tough about it. But the other thing that's nice is there's just so much information that we never had before. But it could be tough either way. I think it's definitely more of a plus than anything. Video content, watching videos on YouTube, that I've learned a ton from. And one video in specific just kind of comes to mind. I used to, for a training session, I'd sit down and watch an hour of Elite FTS if I could. I was watching everything. And there was one video where they had Casey Williams come in, and Dave Tate and this guy was like coaching him through the bench press, and just the stuff they were talking about there, I was taking away and starting to apply the info to my training, and that one alone really kind of helped me break out of a plateau. It took me out of my toes back stance, put me in a wide stance with feet flat, which nowadays I still continue to preach. And it's just like the world of difference that stuff made for me at the time from watching that particular video. And I remember I was like, all right, this is like a 30-minute video. I don't really want to watch this. Who has 30 minutes? But I remember I took the time. I watched the video, and nothing was more profound. And I don't know if I would have made those changes if I didn't see those videos. I mean, over time, I'm sure. But that particular video really kick-started a lot for me regarding the bench and just some principles. Now I teach still. But videos are really awesome ways to learn. And, our YouTube is loaded with like 2+ years of bench-only content. Like, you can't get more specific for the bench. We're really unique in a way. The niche is taken over in terms of every single thing I'm putting out is really bench press related in terms of technical videos. And I don't think you're going to find any other sites that are just that focused on a singular lift. There's a lot of YouTubes that are going to go over powerlifting stuff, personal training stuff, getting fit. But the way, if you go to our YouTube, you're getting some bench content, maybe some things on how to become a better lifter, training overall. But you're getting bench content, and you're getting a lot of it. And literally, you can search any specific thing on the bench, and you're going to find a shit ton of videos on it. But if you search leg drive big benches, you're going to get a whole laundry list, probably like a page and a half, just of a ton of just different bench videos on the subject. And it's only going to continue to grow, but that's where you got to go, guys. If you have trouble with your bench, you know where you're at. You go to our YouTube.
I remember one video in particular, watching Richard Hawthorne teach like his deadlift technique. You don't know who he is. He's like, what is he, like 123, somewhere in there. Deadlift's above 600.
Yeah.
Just absolutely ridiculous. Call him the Ant.
Yeah.
And his cue that finally clicked was you had to leg press the ground away on deadlift.
Yeah.
That was just, at that point I never heard it before. That was the first time I heard it. It just clicked instantly. I'm at a plateau.
It just shows you how you just got to think of things differently. People need to find different ways for it to click in. I'll always explain, if someone doesn't pick up on something I say right away, I'm never going to say it the same way. I'm going to try to play something out in my mind that's going to make it sound different. It's the same exact thing. It's just I'm going to say it in a different way. And oftentimes it's probably going to be pretty weird. But who the hell knows? It's not what connects with you. It's what connects with them.
Whatever sticks, sticks.
So you got to think of just different ways to explain stuff. And it can just be like an outrageous cue and people just kind of get it. I don't know. Just takes a while. I know last night.
Eddie Cohen, open your taint, spread your taint.
Changed the game.
Changed the game.
Last night I was, we talk about upper back tightness lately and how important that is to the bench press. And I was working with a lady last night at the gym, and she, it's something that I've kind of been expressing to people, but I was just kind of telling her, I tapped her shoulder blade, I was just like, drive this down towards your hip when you're benching, and then the whole game changed. So it's just little things like that. And even if you said it once and they didn't quite understand me and hear you right, I don't know, do it again next time later on, and shit changes. So cues are funny like that. Video products, that's a big one. I mean, that's just kind of something you have to invest in. So it's not a free video, and usually things you have to invest in are going to be very packed with knowledge.
I could name two of them off the top of my head right now. Like specifically, like the Big Benchas seminar DVD.
Yeah, it was a good touch on that. That one's great.
That was real good. And then Omar Esoff did the Lifting Lyceum with Greg Knuckles. Mm-hmm. And they broke down the squat, they broke down the bench, they broke the deadlift, like a 3.5 hour thing on all three of them. That was an investment. That was real good. Yeah,
listen, guys, don't be cheap. Investing money in something, usually it's for a good reason. Free content is what it is, and it's very valuable, but there's a reason there's a price tag associated with something of that. I wouldn't put out something real shitty and just put a price tag on it. If I'm going to put something out that you have to invest time, money in, I'm going to make sure it's of the top quality.
And even sometimes it's not that it's anything different from what you're getting. It's just everything's organized in a way you can understand and actually get to in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, because otherwise with like free stuff, there's like a thought process to it and whatnot. But
you're searching everywhere for it, and you have to like whittle down like what is actual real.
And it's usually a short clip.
Yeah, and then what actually works for me specifically. So.
Yeah, and if you invest in something, usually is a well thought out process. You're not just gonna sit down and be like, hey, we're throwing this out for $4.
Yep.
There's something behind it that makes it worth it. So definitely invest in things. It's worth it, guys. I remember I invested in something, Juggernauts. It was one of the Sorinex seminars. And guys, listen, how much do you pay to go to that seminar? How much do you pay to like go to our bench clinics? The one coming up in Texas is $100 ticket, right? How much do you pay to go to some of these big things? If it's ever offered for cheaper, while you're not going to have like hands-on practical experience, you're getting like a major discount for those things. You know what I mean? So take advantage of that. The one, while you're not getting hands-on, like I said, which is extremely valuable in itself, that our clinic video, which retails now $25, that's, you're in there. Elvis did a great job. Like, you have front row seat. You have more than front row seat. You have in-your-face seating. You know what I mean? So you are there in the clinic. The whole thing's filmed, organized well. So you're getting the whole thing, $25. All right, how can you beat that? You're in. That's your ticket. Just watch it and learn. All right.
And then a lot of things, you break it down, continue your education. You take a class at a local college, right? It's going to at least cost $1,000 on the cheapest side. But on one of these seminars, a lot of them are going to be way under that. Even on the high end, they're usually what, like $1-2 grand. It's like a whole week, 2 weeks thing.
Yeah.
But you go for like an afternoon, a day, $100. That's real cheap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. School. Don't get me started on my schooling experience, but while it was valuable, I think there's a lot of different ways out there to learn in a more effective manner. I mean, the school I think is very backdated for the most part. I think a lot of the concepts are slow to pick up on. Depends on your professor, really. But a lot of older professors, as they continue to get old, they don't quite keep up with the current stuff. They don't update
their...
No, they make you buy their textbooks, which are like 20-something years old.
Don't get me started on textbooks. Instead of buying any textbook, go to a seminar. Jesus Christ.
I don't want to get into the whole, because I can go on a tangent. But
I can go on about talking about free shit.
I think the best thing out of school is the connections you make. I mean, it's good to have those connections with your professors and the students in the class, but other than that, I mean, there's a lot of ways to learn more specific, I think.
Man, those books piss me off.
Especially as a lifter. I mean, I don't know any classes that are centered around powerlifting coaching or learning to lift, so... that I don't even want to touch on that. That's a whole thing that I could go on.
That's a whole rate. We'll be here
until a whole podcast in itself.
Yep.
So your video products, super huge. Attending seminars. Don't be afraid to pay the money to go to these seminars, guys. I mean, you're gonna get the hands-on, practical knowledge. And like I said, don't be afraid of being critiqued. It's usually for the better. And hey, if you try something that doesn't necessarily work out for you, you don't have to do it. You are your own lifter. But give these things a shot. Take the feedback they're giving you and learn from everywhere. I mean, it's an opportunity to learn. Rarely are you ever going to invest in something and not take away a little piece. Even a book. I mean, there's always something to take away from a book. You know what I'm saying? We talked about that not too long ago. I just bought this book that was the most stupid looking thing I've ever seen. But I want it because we're writing a book. I'm writing it, Big Benchas book, hopefully coming out in the early next year. I'm working on that, and I kind of want to see what was out there on Amazon. So I invested in this little, like, $10 book. It was kind of a piece of crap, but there's not too much to learn there. But I did at least learn, like, how this guy is kind of marketing his book and just some little things like that. There's always something to take away from anything. There's always that one nugget that's really, really important. So anything to add? Anything we didn't really cover?
I think we got
We got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I think you guys from listening to this got a lot of different resources, some good podcasts, books. What are some books that you really like?
Well, right now I'm like
in terms of lifting. What is it in terms of any lifting books?
I'm in like the mobility space most. Just try to like
because that helps you. You find good information from those.
Helps you like get out of pain. Actually be able to like lift and stay healthy. So the Supple Leopard's huge. I think that's a huge resource.
I had that book too, and that was really big. And it tells you that's how I learned how to get into like a good neutral position.
Yep.
Is from
like
that
brace
stuff.
Neutral.
Yeah. Very valuable.
I think that's honestly my biggest recommendation now would be that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like Josh Bryant's book because Josh Bryant, he's still like the bench press guy too, in my opinion. He's coached a lot of great guys, Jeremy Hornstra. So I really respect Josh Bryant, and I apply some of his practices too with my lifters. And his book on benching is one of the best out there too. I think the best bench press handbook or the practical something for bench pressing, whatever it is. That was something that really
as long as you got the author right.
To me. Yeah, that's kind of like part of my niche thing and something I enjoy reading because it's really practical to what I do, and I've taken a lot away from that and applied it, which is a sign of a good book when you can take stuff away and start applying it immediately to get results. That's how you know you have your hands on a good book. But those are two right there that you can check out. If you want to get your bench press up, Josh Bryant's bench press book, you're not going to miss it. There's only a few on Amazon, really. And then Supple Leopard, Kelly Starrett. That's an awesome one as well. And I was going to leave you guys with a message to stay hungry, all right, and never settle for not learning. All right, because it's very easy to start stagnating, and I catch myself sometimes when I'm not continuing, like, educating myself on a daily basis. I feel stagnant. You know what I mean? I gotta constantly learn. We always gotta constantly learn something. If we're not constantly learning, we're just remaining the same, and you get a shitty feeling about yourself. You know what I'm saying? You gotta learn something every day. Aim to learn one thing per day. It doesn't have to be lifting related all the time. But seek to at least learn something. Know what I learned the other day? I was going to bed. All these bugs were making noise outside.
Yep.
Kind of like we're hearing now. It was loud-ass bug noises. And I thought for the longest time that the bugs, they make that noise from rubbing their legs together. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but I looked it up on Google.
Yep.
And it's actually their wings. And actually on Google, it said like most people think that the bugs are rubbing their legs.
Oh,
so I guess it's kind of like passed down. Like all the bugs are just rubbing their legs together. But I learned that the bugs are actually rubbing their wings together. And I felt damn good about myself. And I slept good that night. So, there you go to show you. I learned something.
Remember the game tag?
Yep.
Stands for touch and go.
Touch and go.
Yeah.
That is deep.
Yeah.
We learned something today. You guys have just been educated. Thanks for listening to the Benchcast. You know where to find Elvis at Small Arm, Leg Strong. And you can follow us at Big Benchas. Subscribe to the YouTube Big Benchas. Check out the website. You know, it's interesting. I'm actually going through a little bit of a website renovation. Don't want to give too much away. But I'm renovating things a little bit. I'm going to change up a lot of what we're doing. And I think you guys are really going to like it. Much more commerce-based. So you're going to be able to search our store very efficiently. Go from like different searchable categories. And, you know, it's really going to help us showcase you all our great products. And it's going to be very simple to maneuver and access. And the mobile site is going to be prime. You know, anytime I make changes like that, I make sure it's for the best. But I'm really amped about that, guys, so keep a lookout. It's going to take me a little while. But, you know, that's going to be something coming out, and I'm really amped about it. Not to give too much away. It's not a spoiler or nothing, but in the works. And the bench press book, I'm really amped about that. In the works. Don't want to give anything away. No spoilers.
No spoilers today.
No spoilers. All right, guys. Appreciate you listening. Go on iTunes. Leave a 5-star review. I know most of you won't, but those who do, very much appreciated. And then let me know you do. You know, That means a lot to me, guys. And if you could go just drop a comment about how the podcast helps you in any way, whatever the case may be, it's always very much appreciated. All right, Coach Ben, Small Arm Leg Strong, and you've been listening to the Benchcast.